The story of America's rise to becoming a global superpower is a complex one indeed. To truly understand this ascent, we must first look at the very land itself. The North American continent, where the United States would eventually take shape, was blessed with an extraordinary array of natural advantages. Consider the sheer scale of the land. The United States boasts a vast territory, stretching from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific. This immense expanse offered not just space for a growing population, but also an incredible diversity of climates and terrains. Navigable rivers like the Mississippi, Missouri, and Ohio acted as natural highways, facilitating internal trade and communication long before the advent of modern infrastructure. These waterways were crucial for moving goods and people, connecting disparate regions and fostering economic integration from the earliest days of the Republic. Rich deposits of coal and iron ore, essential ingredients for industrialization, were found in abundance. Being flanked by two vast oceans, the Atlantic and the Pacific, provided a degree of natural protection from foreign invasions, particularly in the nation's formative years. This unique combination of resources, space, and strategic location gave the fledgling nation a significant head start on its path to becoming a dominant force on the world stage. The natural advantages of the land provided the raw materials, but it was the transformative power of the Industrial Revolution that truly began to shape America into an economic powerhouse. This period, stretching roughly from the late 18th century through the 19th century, witnessed a fundamental shift in how goods were produced and how society was organized. The smokestacks rising across the landscape were symbols of a new era, an era of mechanization and mass production that would change the country forever. Key to this transformation was a spirit of innovation and a willingness to embrace new technologies. The construction of a vast railway network was perhaps one of the most significant achievements of this era. These iron horses, as they were often called, crisscrossed the continent, connecting raw material sources with manufacturing centers and markets. This infrastructure development was a monumental undertaking, fueled by government support, private investment, and the labor of countless workers, including many immigrants. Cities swelled as people moved from rural areas and abroad to work in urban industrial centers. The combination of technological advancement, infrastructure development, and a growing labor force propelled the United States into the front ranks of industrialized nations. As America's economic strength grew throughout the 19th century, so too did its ambitions on the global stage. An early articulation of America's growing assertiveness in its own hemisphere was the Monroe Doctrine, proclaimed in 1823. This policy declared that the American continents were no longer open to European colonization, and that the United States would view any interference in the affairs of newly independent nations in the Western Hemisphere as a hostile act. The latter half of the 19th century saw the United States continue its territorial expansion, acquiring Alaska from Russia in 1867 and annexing Hawaii in 1898. A pivotal moment in America's emergence as a world power was the Spanish-American War of 1898. The outbreak of World War I in 1914 found the United States initially adhering to a policy of neutrality. Several factors gradually eroded American neutrality. Unrestricted submarine warfare by Germany, which resulted in the sinking of ships carrying American passengers, most notably the Lusitania in 1915, outraged public opinion. The infamous Zimmermann telegram, intercepted in 1917, in which Germany proposed a military alliance with Mexico against the United States, further inflamed anti-German sentiment and pushed the nation closer to war. In April 1917, the United States officially declared war on Germany and its allies. The arrival of American troops, often called doughboys on the Western Front, provided a much-needed boost to the weary Allied forces. The aftermath of World War I saw President Wilson attempt to shape the post-war world order through his 14 points, which advocated for principles like self-determination, free trade, and the establishment of a League of Nations to prevent future conflicts. Section 5, Arsenal of Democracy, World War II, and the ascent to superpower status. The rise of aggressive, expansionist regimes in Germany, Italy, and Japan posed a growing threat to world peace. When World War II erupted in Europe in 1939, America once again initially declared neutrality. The surprise attack on Pearl Harbor by Japan on December 7, 1941, was the event that catapulted the United States directly into World War II. This day of infamy, as Roosevelt called it, galvanized a previously divided nation and unleashed the full might of America's industrial and military potential. American forces fought on multiple fronts across Europe, North Africa, and the Pacific. The use of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945 brought about Japan's surrender and marked the dawn of the nuclear age, forever changing the nature of warfare and international relations. By the end of World War II in 1945, the United States stood as one of the two dominant global superpowers, alongside the Soviet Union. This new position of global leadership was solidified through its role in establishing post-war institutions like the United Nations and the Bretton Woods financial system, setting the stage for decades of American influence. Section 6. The Bipolar World, Navigating the Tensions of the Cold War. The end of World War II marked the beginning of the Cold War, a tense standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union. This ideological, political, and military rivalry shaped global affairs for nearly half a century. The arms race and the threat of nuclear war defined this period. The US adopted a policy of containment, articulated in the Truman Doctrine of 1947. This policy aimed to prevent the spread of communism, focusing initially on Greece and Turkey. Proxy wars in Korea and Vietnam were significant conflicts during the Cold War. The Cold War ended with the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 and the dissolution of the USSR in 1991. Section 7. The Digital Frontier and Dollar Dominance, Late 20th Century Leadership. With the Cold War's end, the US emerged as a global leader. America led in technology and finance, with Silicon Valley at its core. Companies like Apple, Microsoft, and Google revolutionized tech. Wall Street and the US dollar dominated global finance. American universities attracted global talent, driving innovation. The US promoted globalization, integrating the world economy. This era cemented America's multifaceted global leadership. Section 8. New Millennium, New Challenges, America's Enduring Global Role. The dawn of the 21st century brought with it a fresh set of complex challenges that tested America's superpower status and its approach to global leadership. The terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001 were a profound shock, fundamentally altering US foreign and domestic policy. The subsequent war on terror led to protracted military engagements in Afghanistan and Iraq, costing trillions of dollars and many lives, and sparking considerable debate both at home and abroad about America's role in the world and the methods it employed to ensure its security. Economically, the rise of new global powers, most notably China, began to shift the international balance. Despite these challenges, the United States has continued to exert significant global influence. Its military remains the most powerful and technologically advanced in the world, with a global network of bases and alliances. American popular culture, movies, music, television shows, and social media platforms continues to have a vast international reach, shaping tastes and trends worldwide. While the unipolar moment following the Cold War may have passed, the United States continues to be an indispensable nation in tackling the world's most significant problems, its actions and policies having far-reaching consequences for the entire international community. Section 9. The American Superpower, a tapestry woven through history. In conclusion, America's journey to becoming a global superpower is not the result of a single factor, but rather a complex interplay of numerous elements woven together over centuries. It began with the immense fortune of its natural endowments, a vast, resource-rich landmass protected by two oceans, providing the raw materials and security necessary for growth and development. Upon this foundation, the ingenuity and industriousness of its people, fueled by waves of immigration and a culture that often celebrated innovation, ignited the Industrial Revolution. Military strength, developed and tested through various conflicts from the Spanish-American War through two World Wars and the long Cold War, further cemented America's position. Finally, its leadership in technological innovation, particularly in the digital age, and the enduring strength of its financial systems and currency have allowed America to maintain a leading edge in the late 20th and early 21st centuries. The American story is one of constant adaptation and enduring influence, a tapestry still being woven.